understanding how everything works, how everything operates, how everything ticks.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't talking about the tick-tock clock. How you tick.
Mm-hmm.
You the ticking clock
Right.
in the flesh.
Some of that good hot water tea going.
Hmm?
So I got some of that good hot water tea going on.
With that somehow. I need something. I need my water. I ain't put it in the refrigerator since last night. See, maybe once I've been sipping on that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so we live.
All right.
And peace and love
we'll let the sisters
to the
start it
community. Yes, we got our.
I hope the ears they hear out there on internet land ready to hear some good news.
Mm-hmm.
Good news, not bad news, but good news.
Yeah, people watching, people listening. They take their time. Whenever they find, they find.
Yes, indeed.
But it give you a little feedback, like a weekly analytics, so we could see. It give us like a weekly analytics, so we could see,
what
you know who, what's being done.
Okay. 54.
Yep, 54.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I remember reading
Super
in the Quran,
54.
speaking in the Holy Quran, it was speaking about the jinn.
Yep.
But it didn't go into detail like this right here.
Right. Because I remember reading that in the. Yep, in the Holy Quran, and it don't read.
The heard a beautiful recital and went back, and they went back and was telling the ones about the recital. They heard a beautiful recital.
Yep, that's what the jinns love to do. Love to sit around and hear the Holy Quran. But they never do it. But what turned Iblis into a jinn, because he didn't prostrate. Because remember, angels don't prostrate.
Yeah.
But to Allah. But Iblis had to prostrate to someone called Adam.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I ain't prostrating.
I'm better than him.
Right, you made me from the smokeless fire.
Yeah,
you made him from the darkest clay.
You something hard-headed, you do it.
See, and that's what took him out. That little shadow right there made him ignorant.
I remember reading that. I ain't forgot. I ain't picked it up and read it a long time, but I ain't forgot.
Yeah, it's one thing you won't forget once you have read it.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, because it caught my ear, you know, what I read, and
yep, mine too.
And then I'm hearing this,
Mm-hmm.
then you got to try to figure out what's going on, or interpret a cipher.
Yeah, interpreting and cipher.
What's going on, but
let's see what all that is. Yeah, because you don't hear that word now. That's not a Bible word. Jinn,
you won't even see that in the Bible.
Jinn is not a Bible word.
I wonder why. Omission.
They would have known.
Omission.
It would have been the exact same.
Omission. Omission. And then somebody have the audacity to say, if it ain't in the Bible, I won't believe it. Boy, you're gonna be you're gonna be left out in the cold if you ain't careful. Left out in the cold. You must be ain't heard that there's false prophets and false scriptures. Evidently, you must don't know about that.
Yes,
and
they ain't reading.
You believe everything you read and heard, and you take it to heart, you in trouble. You're supposed to examine everything.
If you have only read those two books, the Holy Quran and the Holy Bible, you won't have it all.
No, and you stop right there, and we can prove it. Because, see, I done read both of them, and was still short.
Yep, that's what happened.
That's how I know, because I read them both.
Yep. And they both come up
Ramadan,
short.
You got to go from one to the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you find out. By reading them both and you still feel short.
Yeah.
The comprehension ain't complete.
And then when you read them both, you'll catch on that one saying one thing and another book saying something else. So now you've got to back up and say, whoa, wait a minute, now who's right and who's wrong?
Yeah, you gotta look within. And what would you do?
Who's right?
Yeah.
And who's
What's
wrong?
your consciousness telling you?
Yeah.
Because that's what
I was all over like this the other day, everywhere.
it's a cycle, just like everything that's in motion.
You gotta start all this before you go live. Once it goes live, everything is
But while we honestly waiting for number 2 to be running, while live 1 running, since we're going over spirits right now.
Yeah, you can look it up and then find it in that.
Yeah.
Circle 7.
All right. Out of chapter 11, we have verse 20, or Surah 20. From Allah's own record book, we read, the Triune Allah breathed forth and stood 7 spirits. Spirits, keep that word in mind as we continue our lesson.
Yeah.
7 spirits
Not
before
one.
his face. Not one.
Not one.
A lot of one.
Not 2.
The Hebrews called these 7 spirits Elohim.
Look at that.
All right.
Look at
See,
that.
so that's what the Hebrew called
Yeah, the 7 spirits.
the 7 spirits.
Elohim.
Elohim.
Okay, Hebrew.
Yes, that's what the Hebrews.
The Hebrew. Back then, I looked up that word, the Hebrew, and it referred to a Jew. Then I looked that up, so it was kind of. But I was thinking, I said, nah, they're talking about Jew. This the only thing is deeper than this.
Yeah, and we come to find out it is.
It is, yeah. That's what society now got wrapped all up in it. Jew this, Jew that. Jew.
Them J's.
And them Jews used to be some, boy, they was back there then when I didn't know the depths of the Jews. They used to come around selling Bibles, liniment, and cookies. Have all that in the car.
Have all that with them.
Yeah, they have all that, and they come all out of the neighborhood. That is, when we were staying at the block house, then they go all up in the lane, selling this stuff. Yeah, boy, they were the rolling.
They were moving like swarm.
Yeah, and then here come 2 trucks out of a week on Wednesday and Friday. They call them rolling stove. It was a stove on wheels. Coming into they would come to your neighborhood, cause back there then a lot of people didn't have transportation to go to town. And they would come to you and get that money. You know, people was cropping back and picking cotton and all this stuff, and they know they had money, but they couldn't get nowhere. A lot of them, nobody had no transportation. They come bring it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Super 54, the spirits. Al Jinn.
Mm.
Oh, you who believe, let it be said, Al Jinn. The spirit, the collective spirits. In the 46th name of Allah. The one, the absolute, the almighty. The voice of self-doubt, unreason, and self-hate.
There you go.
The voice of silence and intolerance. This is basically the lower self.
Who the Hebrews called the Elohim.
The one who keeps us in a state of depression. The shadows and chills of ancient ruins. The unresolved regrets and unwanted visitations. The unknowing hand and purpose of Allah. Thus, it is a tragedy of life that those who die in ignorance condemn themselves to a time in spirit. In the lower self. It is a great transgression against Allah to defile the remains of the dead, causing such suffering of spirit. Verily, many a sober man has seen the dead rise before a moon or storm upon a bloody field of battle. And I guess back then that was more common.
Yeah, we can see it from the writing.
Because I ain't seen it literally.
You know that's the jinns. They let you know. You see that as jinn activity.
That's right.
Do not fear them, nor curse them, nor seek to create more misery as the worst Persian sorcerer. Pray for your family. Pray for your ancestors and your friends. Pray for the dead. And pray for all spirits that they find peace.
Islam. Amen. Amen.
Yes, indeed. This is why we got to get to know self.
Big reason.
Number 4 said the voice
The
of
voice.
self-doubt.
Voice.
The unreason and self-hate. And you know, and I can see this deeply rooted in our people because they have so much doubt. And they're so unreasonable. And they hate themselves. They don't even like the complexion of their skin. They were back there damn buying bleach and all. White man made the bleach and they go by it and bleach the skin. Trying to get rid of the darkness. This is what I know and witnessed. Yeah, I witnessed this here. The voice of violence, it says, and intolerance. It's all when you don't know who thyself is. This is the opposite. Because once you learn self and who you are and what's your purpose, then you won't have this self-doubt. You won't be about all this violence and intolerance. And this is what's going on, these old evil spirits that you see committing war. The warmongers. That's them wicked spirits. Said the unknown hands and the purpose of Allah. And we can bear witness to those who really don't know self yet. You can see their action, their behavior, their intention. They mean good. sometimes do some little good action, but that ain't sufficient. That's insufficient. Not like an insufficient check you wrote and you don't have enough to cover it. But you tried anyway, knowing it's gonna bounce. And you don't want to go to this grave in those conditions. Period. That's why it said, pray for your family. Pray for your ancestors. And I can comprehend that because I know a lot of our ancestors had gone on to the grave and they wasn't conscious of the spirit. They were conscious of their daily activities and you can inhale and exhale, but that was just about it. You go work jobs and stuff and come back home and just do the best you can for your family. But that ain't enough. And that's why Allah is telling us, to those who are already gone, pray for them. Ancestors, friends, pray for the dead. Now you know the dead is in the grave. Say, well, wow, what good that's gonna do? Evidently, you don't know all about the spirit. The spirit is still alive. And the last one said, pray for all spirit that they find peace.
Peace. Remember we just
That's
covered.
so long.
Right.
I ain't forgot it.
That's why the spirits need prayer, because they ain't in peace.
They ain't in peace.
As the beautiful sister read, they are condemning themselves to a time in spirit.
And when I called them, the electrician yesterday and told him the good news, and I told him, he said, well, how you doing, brother? I'm saying, I told him I was all in that peace. He said, man, that's a wonderful thing, to be at peace. Because I think he was tough. But he reminded me. But everybody don't have peace each and every day, man.
You can look out. I hear it and see it.
Find it and have it, man.
And feel it.
I'm telling a lot.
Yeah, people don't know it's real.
Yeah.
But this is real.
All this aggravation and frustration and depression, this is the way it's supposed to be. Not in my life.
It's going to be like that if you don't involve yourself in no particular way of science.
That's right.
If no one don't know the science, but you know the science, how to get to work, how to get to your job, how to spend your money up, that's a science.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you don't know the science of self, you're going to fail in life. Because the things that you don't know is going to come arising. And most people, when people don't know arise, like, have you read this book? Have you read that book? When that thought arise now, you get these feelings, what it's talking about. Number 4, this is important to understanding the lower self. Now, as we understand Noble Drew Ali's teachings with Muhammad teachings and understanding the one and the same. And so the lower self breeds hatred. The lower self breeds slander. The lower self breeds murders. The lower self breeds theft. And the lower self breeds everything that harms. And number 6 under Sufa 54 says, the one who keeps us, meaning self, in a state of depression. It ain't the body holding the self down. You know, the body arms ain't pinning the self down. So what is pinning the self down from being free to move throughout creation? And that's what we're reading about. The Hebrews call them the Elohims. The Muslims call them the Al-Jinns. Jinn are the collective spirits.
Collective spirit.
Right. And
Wow.
Jinn is also the spirit. So when we understand that when it's talking about inside, when you hear,
Yeah.
you're going to hear voice.
That,
And so for myself, when I'm coming upon this text, it gives you the beautiful enlightenment of what Noble Drew Ali was speaking on about the higher self and the lower self. So the lower self is the jinn that keeps everyone depressed.
Yep.
The opposite of peace, which is confusion and self-destruction. Then it also says that all this is a voice. The jinn deals with a voice.
Yeah.
People heard it as in Christian texts, the bad angel and the good angel. And so the bad angel is called a demon and the good one is called an angel.
Yeah.
And so when you have the bad angel or demon talking on your shoulder, that is the symbol of the jinn. The voice that's speaking to you about doing harm. And this is what we are under today. We are under a collection of spirits that want to cause harm, especially to newer beings in existence. And so this is where all this is coming from. When Paul says that the principles of spirituality are on high, that is not against the war of flesh and blood. So this is not what's happening. We might see the bloody field or the war in the streets, but it has nothing to do with the higher self.
No.
All that is the lower self
Lower self.
warring with the lower self.
That's correct.
And all these are jinns, spiritual jinns. And as we get to the higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. So if things are out of harmony in life for self, then self is dealing with a jinn.
Yep.
Okay, now if self is in a positive happiness, then self is in the angelic state.
You right on.
And that's what we finna go into next. The angelic state. Because we should understand that the lower self is the jinn, and all jinns breed hatred.
Yep. And then 11 said it is a great transgression against the law to defy the remaining of the dead, causing such suffering in spirit. And this is a great transgression to be living like this and operating like this on a daily, not realizing what you really getting yourself into. All right, I'll take super.